What is good, gifted and talented engineers and artists all around the world? My name is Derron, founder and CEO of Black Visual Entertainment. And today, I'm going to show you guys how to stop overthinking on your vocal chains, man. A lot of you are filling every single slot on your vocal chain when you don't need to do that. So I'm basically going to... I'm going to show you guys how to stop overthinking when it comes to your vocal chains, all right? And I'm talking to all y'all out there that like to fill every single slot on your vocal chain. You do not need 10, 15, 20, 30 plugins, man, to get your vocals sounding right, all right? So I'm going to get you taken care of right here. I'm going to show you how I set up my vocal chains, a step-by-step process, and give you the rundown on what I did, why I made those decisions, and show you that you can do a lot with less. Let's get into it. Okay, so as you guys can see, I got my vocal right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick listen to it just to see whatever we need, right?
I can see it's a veil, gave me it, I want to tell, tip of fine, soak the wheel.
Okay. I like where that's at. I know for this particular artist, shout out Seven, talented artist, man. I know he wants some auto-tune on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw some auto-tune on it, throw in one of my favorite tuning plugins, right? And no, it's not Entourage, man. I ain't got any look, man. Hey, this is a gem, bro. If you don't know nothing, if you don't know nothing about this, man. But I believe the song is in F sharp minor, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it on F sharp minor. I know he probably wants a decent amount. Let's put it about 10. Let's lower the sustain a little bit. And I'm gonna set the note stabilizer to mid. This is a really cool thing in the note stabilizer. Basically, you know those jitters that you get in auto-tune, those jitters where it's like it wants to shift your note and it ends up creating the sound. This basically does a good job of stopping that without you having to go in and make all these changes later. So I'm gonna play it really quick.
I can see it's a veil, gave me it, I want to tell, tip of fine, soak the wheel, want to catch me, wish him well, up that dolphin, wish him well, back on topic, it's a bill, angel face, she came from hell, introvert, I love the Nick.
Cool. All right, this sounds great. Moving on, we're already done. We dialed in the auto-tune. We're going to the next thing. So of course, what I typically like to do is throw in an EQ first. That's how I like to work. So I'm actually on the side of throwing in EQ before compression. Some people feel otherwise. Listen, do whatever suits you, all right? If it suits you, do that, man. But for me, EQ is where it's at. So I start off with the EQ, and we're going to start off with one of my favorite EQs, which is the Pro Q4. And I'm going to show you just how fast I can dial in the settings, and then I'm going to go over why I made the choices, right? So let's get into it.
I can see it's a veil.
Well, let me first start off by turning the beat on.
Yeah, don't lose the beat,
I can see it's a veil, gave me it, I want to tell, tip of fine, soak the wheel, want to catch me, wish him well, up that dolphin, wish him well, back on topic, it's a bill, angel face, she came from hell, introvert, I love the Nick, 2VS, exchange the best, diamonds are a better dress, skip the way and want the sex, I can't lie, exchange the best, I ain't seen a better set, pop the top of Michelin, shot at you was never that. I can see it's a veil, gave me it, I want to tell, tip of fine, soak the wheel, want to catch me, wish him well, up that dolphin, wish him well, back on topic, it's a bill, angel face, she came from hell, introvert, I love the Nick, 2VS, exchange the best, diamonds are a better dress, skip the way and want the sex, I can't lie, exchange the best, I ain't seen a better set, pop the top of Michelin, shot at you was never that. I can see it's a veil, gave me it, I want to tell, tip of fine, soak the wheel, want to catch me, wish him well, up that dolphin, wish him well, back on topic, it's a bill, angel face, she came from hell, intro.
Cool. All right, so without even putting in too much time, right, this is where I got. Now, let me show you the moves that I made. I know off first glance, you may think that I probably made some really crazy moves, right, but let me explain to you something. Arbitrary numbers mean nothing to me, and it shouldn't mean anything to you either. So when it comes to, oh, well, I don't want to add more than this, or I don't want to take away more than this, you're automatically thinking the wrong way when it comes to EQ. You make the moves necessary to get to the sound that you want. And if that requires you to take 4 decibels out here, 8 decibels out here, or boost 6 decibels, then make that move, okay? You're dealing with a lot of different people. A lot of people are working in home studios now. They're not working with the best microphones. So there's certain things that may happen that you have to atone for when it comes to the EQing stage, right? So At first, I went ahead and did a low cut or a high pass, whichever floats your boat. You know, do it. You can call it whatever you want to call it, man. I set it at 107 because, of course, for me, the way I like to think of cutting out the lows, I'm cutting out where the vocals really aren't present. I don't really want the low cut to deal too much with the vocal because then I can start really creating a very tinny, very hollow sounding vocal. And I don't want that, right? Next up, the next move I made, I kind of listened through and I felt like in this 2K region, this particular region can sometimes get a little, you know, it can kind of get a little Kermit the Froggy, you know what I'm saying? So in that particular case, I'm toning for it early, and even though it's not super crazy, I know once I start adding more processing, it's going to become a problem. So I took out about 2.8 decibels of that. And then I added about 4 decibels, right, of 5.5 kilohertz and above. Now, the reason why I use the shelf is because I wanted to affect everything from 5 kilohertz and above, right? So everything above, it's affecting that, not just the bell curve where it only grabs primarily what's around it where you have the bell curve set. So in this particular case, it's boosting up everything at 5.7, and it sounds really good to my ear so far. And then, of course, I took out a little bit more of the 400 hertz. Anywhere around 400 to 500 hertz, you start to get a little bit of that boxy tone. It really cleared up a lot of that boxiness that I don't like in the vocals. And then, of course, probably one of the most jarring things that you probably saw me do, but it's a gem, man. Instead of using a low cut to really deal with the vocals, I like messing with low shelves, and this is just from my experience working with a lot of Neve, stuff because of shelving EQs. I like how shelving EQ sounds, or not just Neve, but the Bax EQ. They're great. They're great EQs, and they sound so much more musical. So anything below 542 hertz, it is affecting and is bringing that down. So now I know that anything below 500 is not necessarily getting in the way as much as I, would like, right? And that's about it. As you guys can see, that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 bands, right? Not a whole lot. And I dialed it in fairly quickly. Now let's hear before and after.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me it, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will.
Cool. With it.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me it, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will.
Cool. The next plugin I'm going to bring up is the Fab Filter Pro De-Esser. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to use Fab Filter's plugins, right? These are just very great plugins that I like to use. You can use whichever you feel best. Now, I'm going to utilize this, and I'm basically going to compress until I feel like it's doing too much, right? So let's try to get it to where it's just taming the S's, all right?
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me it, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will. Up that dolphin, wish him will. Back on.
Cool. Now, the reason why I don't want to overdo it is because when you overdo de-essing, you'll start to create a lisp. And you don't want that. It's kind of like the old auto-tune back in the day. Like if you added too much of it, it actually gave you a lisp.
I'm getting a little tired of your broken promises.
You don't want that to sound like that. So, of course, you got to be mindful about how much de-essing that you're doing. For me, it's still sharp, but it's not jarring. And that's what you need to pay attention to. Don't worry so much about it being, I'm just trying to get it completely out of there. You don't want to take away the sharpness of the S's. You just want to tame them, which is the whole point of a de-esser. All it is just a compressor for the high end. All right. So now that we got that set up, let's do a before and after. Let's do without first.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me it, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will.
And with it.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me it, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will.
Cool. I'm loving how that's sounding. Now that we have that dialed in, the very next plugin that I feel, I'm going to go for a FET compressor. My favorite FET compressor that I love and I truly adore using is this one right here, man. You probably already know the 1176. This is an amazing compressor. And the reason why I chose it is because 1, it's very fast. And 2, it does a really good job of getting the presence that I want. And if I really crank it, if I ever wanted to really crank it, I can get some grit out of it too. In this particular case, I don't need too much grit. I just really want to make the vocals pop a little bit more and tame them. But I don't need to overdo it because if you take a look at the waveform right here, man, I mean, it's not like he's super dynamic. He's already kind of in the pocket. I'm just making it a little bit tighter for us, all right? Pause. All right, so let's dial this in.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will. Up that dolphin, wish him will. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the Knicks. 2 VS, exchange the best. Diamonds are better just. Skip the way and want the sex. I can't lie, exchange the best. I ain't seen a better set. Pop the top of Michelin. Shout at you was never it.
All right. So I feel like this is a pretty good spot. It's usually hovering anywhere around -3 to -5 decibels. With FET compressors, especially this one, there's a built-in threshold. So once you reach a threshold and you go past that threshold, that's when compression starts. And because the threshold is fixed on this particular compressor, you only have the input and the output. So the input is that's what drives the signal into the threshold. And the more it hits that threshold, the more compression that you see over in this range here. And then you use the output to back it up. Now with these attacks and releases, remember, this is a very, very fast compressor. So even the release is super quick, right? The release is super quick. Even if I had it right here, you know, it would still be pretty fast. But right here, I felt like it was giving me a nice return. It was letting go of the vocals, you know, fast enough for me to where I felt like I'm getting a good amount of energy from his vocals again, right? And then as far as the attack, I just brought it back so I can let some of the transient shine just a little bit. I don't want to squash it to hell, right? I just want to compress it and tighten it enough to where it feels more concise. So let's listen to it without it.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will.
And now with it.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will. Up that dolphin.
Cool. Another one of my favorite plugins, the FabFilter Pro MB. I promise you, this is not sponsored by FabFilter, man. I promise you, this is not. They have amazing plugins. It is what it is. So I'm basically going to create my bands and set my crossovers that works best for me, from what I feel sounds the best. And then going from there, you know, we're going to start EQing and compressing at the same time. So let's jump right into it.
I can't see it.
Okay, cool. Moving to the next.
I can't see it.
All right, I'm cool with that. Okay, and then I'm gonna do one more for the high end.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell.
Cool. Now, I don't really want to overdo the compression with this, so I'm going to set all of these to a 3-to-1 ratio. Cool. So now I'm basically just going to kind of EQ and compress at the same time. And again, I'm going to run through this and I'm going to explain exactly what I did to make it sound the way I got it to sound, right? So let me jump into that.
I can't see it, it's a veil.
Hold on, man. What happened to my... Okay. Okay. I didn't know what in the world just happened. Okay. All right, cool. Let's jump into it.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, want to catch me, wish him will. Up that dolphin, wish him will. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the Knicks. 2 VS, exchange the best. Diamonds are better just. Skip the way and want the sex. I can't lie, exchange the best. I ain't seen a better set. Pop the top of me. I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will. Up that dolphin, wish him will. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the Knicks. 2 VS, exchange the best. Diamonds are better just. Skip the way and want the sex. I can't lie, exchange the best. I ain't seen a better set. Pop the top of Michelin. Shout at you was never there. I can't see it, it's a veil. I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will. Up that dolphin, wish him will. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the Knicks. 2 VS, exchange the best. Diamonds are better just. Skip the way and want the sex. I can't lie, exchange the best. I ain't seen a better set. Pop the top. I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him will. Up that dolphin, wish him will. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the Knicks. 2 VS, exchange the best. Diamonds are better just. Skip the way and want the sex. I can't lie, lie, exchange the best. I ain't seen a better set. Pop the top of Michelin. Shot at you was never that. I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell.
Cool. So let's explain all of what I did, right? So let's start with the low end right here for band 1. So as you guys can see, I kind of kept the basic attack, kept the attack where it was, but I upped the release a little bit just because I wanted to, just to kind of deal with the sustaining notes, right? There's not too much of punching going on in this low range for me at least, and I wanted to kind of hold the compression a little bit longer for the low range, and I only boosted just a little bit because I don't want him to sound like he has no low end, right? I don't want that to be the case. For the low mids here for band 2, I wanted to boost a little bit more of that because right here, honestly, in band 2 and band 3, this is where a lot of the tone of his voice is at. And I want to make sure that I don't take away from that. I don't want him to sound dull, right? If I was dealing with a more monotone, or a contralto or something like that, or somebody like that, who has a very low register, then I would probably focus a little bit more on this and maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit in the low mids as well. But for his particular voice, I want the low mids and the high mids to shine, right? And then, of course, with the high end, again, I was running into a little bit more of that sibling information that was kind of reintroduced after we added the 76 compressor, and I basically kind of did another form of de-essing right here, which is why if you look here, I have the attack set all the way to 0 and the release set a little bit further back, so that way it can do a better job of controlling those S's, right? So let's play it without it.
Can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him well.
Cool. With it.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him well. Up that.
Cool. Another thing that you should pay attention to is making sure that you are not fooling yourself with loudness, right? Oftentimes, especially for newer engineers, things get turned up and they think that things sound better. So that's why it's important to make sure that you're gauging, making sure that you're bringing your gain back to where it should be in order for the signal to kind of hit where it was hitting at before you added any processing. So let's take a quick listen to how it sounded without everything.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel.
Cool. So it's hitting around negative 12 decibels. Let's see if we're still hitting around that with all the plugins.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him well. Up that.
Cool. So actually, I think I'm actually losing just a little bit because, mentally I was probably just kind of overcompensating just a little bit. If I wanted to fix that, all I have to do is just use my fader here and I can just bring that up, maybe just a little bit, bring it up a decibel. Let's listen to it again.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him well.
Cool. And as you guys can see, we've only used 5 plugins. 5. We've only used 5 plugins and we've gotten it from where we had it to where we got it now. It's a night and day difference, at least to my ears, right? So here's a little quick effect that I can add just to kind of add a little bit of bounce to it, and I know he's gonna appreciate it too. So let's go ahead and add that real quick. I'm finna give y'all give y'all a gem real quick, man. This Anthrasol. I hope I'm saying that right. Slay Digital, don't get mad at me. But this is a good one, man. I go to chorus and then I go to depth of field. And then I just go to this dry wet knob here and I just bring it a little bit dry. I don't want it to be too crazy, but let's listen to how it sounds now.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me air, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. Want to catch me, wish him well. Up that dolphin, wish him well. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the Knicks. 2 VS, exchange the best. Diamonds or a better dress. Skip the way, I want the sex. I can't lie, exchange the best. I ain't seen a better set. Pop the top of Michelin.
Cool. And I love this because, you can get creative and then you can actually start coming up with more ideas just because you got rid of all the issues. Now you can add the creative elements and boom. It's just not like you can easily just maneuver throughout the session a lot easier once you take care of all of the problems, right? Something that I did notice, and this is okay. This is something that is okay to do. If you want to go back to a previous plugin to fix or tweak things, do that. Some people feel like they need to just automatically open up another plugin or create another plugin just to fix a problem. Sometimes you can just go back to previous plugins and start adjusting the parameters as such, right? So in this particular case, I feel like there's a little bit too much low end and it's not working the best with the Anthrasol, right? Let's go in and listen to it.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Tip of fine, soak the wheel. catch me wishing well. Up that dolphin wishing well. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the neck.
Cool. As you guys can see, man, it don't take a lot to get you to a great sounding vocal, man. And the cool thing about this is once you get rid of all the issues, you can start adding things like reverbs, delays, doublers, all types of cool different things. And it'll sound so much better because you got rid of all the problems. And again, once you get better at this, you'll be able to start creating or doing vocal change fairly quickly, right? Let me just give you guys an example because, of course, you guys are hearing it as it is right now, but let me give you guys an idea on what it could sound like after you finish doing things like this. Now it can go from sounding like this.
I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me head, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the whale. Want to catch me wishing well. Up that dolphin wishing well. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the neck.
And then you start adding the effects and all of that good stuff, and then you get this.
Whoa, I can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me head, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the whale. Want to catch me wishing well. Up that dolphin wishing well. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the neck. 2 VS exchange the best. Diamonds are a better dress. Skip the way I want the sex. I can't lie, exchange the best. I ain't seen a better set. Pop the top on Michelin. Shot at you was never that. Can't see it, it's a veil. Gave me head, I want to tell. Tip of fine, soak the whale. Want to catch me wishing well. Up that dolphin wishing well. Back on topic, it's a bill. Angel face, she came from hell. Introvert, I love the neck. 2 VS exchange the best. Diamonds are a better dress. Skip the way I want the sex.